Well, good morning, fellow creators. It is 8/17 on July 17th. Wouldn't it be fun if it was also August 17th? Could be 8/17, 8/17. Wednesday, early morning. Well, early morning. And I'm in the studio as usual. I've got a painting to finish. Most notably this thing, which I haven't touched in a few days since it's been pretty warm down here. It's also still pretty warm down here. Waiting for a cold front to push through, which isn't supposed to happen until like this afternoon into tomorrow. So it's still kind of humid and disgusting. Trying to cool off the upstairs right now because it's actually cooler outside than inside and will be all day. So I'm just like trying to get it back down to a more reasonable temperature. And I really don't want to have my AC on anymore at this point because it's been on for like 8 days straight. My electricity bill next month is probably going to be through the roof as a result. So, trying to make some decisions. I've got some fun things I want to talk about. Most notably is something that happened 2 days ago. Within my local art community, gallery space and everything like that, at some point in time ago I got added into a group chat on Instagram. And I'm like, none of this crap pertains to me. Why did I get added into this? It's just so I just put it on mute. And I still get the messages. It's just my phone doesn't go off every 3 seconds when people are talking. Because there's like 40 people in the group or whatever. So I just happened to be looking at my phone because a friend of mine sent me a message also on Instagram. So I was like, oh, there's new stuff in that group chat. I guess I'll just look at it. And there was this lady that was like, hey, I'm moving. And I cannot take a lot of my canvases with me, so anybody who wants anything, come and get it. So there was canvas, there was spray paint, there was some other paint, mostly just cheap, super cheap paints. Like I took one look and I'm like, yeah, I can't use any of that crap. But in the painting stuff, I've managed to grab a palette knife that was in there. So that's a painting knife. That was always nice having more of those. There was a huge pack of these foam brushes things, foam spongy brushes. So I just took a big handful of them. I don't use them all that often, but I'm like, oh, just take a big handful of them. They're cheap and there's a whole bunch here, so I'll take some. And then outside the gallery space was all of these canvases. Now all of these canvases they're relatively low profile ones. They're probably like level 1 for Michaels or something like that. But there were like 150 or 200 of them, and they're all either have like some experimental color smushes and spray paint and stuff on them, but nothing was done. It was all like in progress stuff or paintings that this artist wasn't going to finish. And there were so many, and I was like, holy crap! and it wasn't like, oh, give me $1 for them. They were free, first come first serve, and I was like, yeah. So I ended up picking up, I did 2 trips, which I definitely shouldn't have done while wearing my funny boot. Which, like the rest of that day, I was really sore because I was walking around too much because I was like a block and over and down on the street. But it was like, oh, God, I'm already sweating. It's been down here for what, 10 minutes? But I picked up and I got some and I was like, I got back to my car. I stood there for about 2 minutes and I was like, I'm going back for more. Because there were so many and there were big ones too. So, a couple of them I had to unstretch because there were holes in them. So I couldn't have saved them anyway. But this gives you an idea of kind of the stuff that was on these. So this is a big one that I had to unstretch. And this was just, random spray paint. In theory I could have just patched the hole or something or grab some canvas and done some bridging, which I still might do for the sake of practice, but this canvas probably get cut up and I'll use it for like demos and stuff when I'm, tutorials here on the channel. Other than that, let me show you all the ones that I got. I got 5 of these little 8-inch squares. There are 5 12 by 36s. There are 2 big ones back here. They are, I think, 20 by 30 inches. I had to put them behind my dryer since that's the only place they would fit. These are as big as the screen, apparently. I got a whole black screen now. 24 by 48, I think is what these are. Hold on, I just looked this up because I texted it. Yeah, 24 by 48. These are huge, huge. And when I got home and after I did all this, I was thinking about it. I'm like, this is probably $300 worth of canvas that I got for free, which is wild. So in getting all of this canvas, I had a few thoughts. I don't personally know the artist in the group that was giving all this stuff away. I mean, I probably recognized some of the art, but it was like it didn't really occur to me, and I'm not regularly there in person enough to really know everybody, names to faces and everything like that. But I was like, first of all, this person's probably making very poor artistic financial decisions, or has a lot of free money to burn. But it was like, there is no way in hell you need 200 blank canvases. I mean, if you're buying them in bulk, maybe. But I took one look, I'm like, how the hell does this person have this? I know I have a lot in my corner, but I don't have that much stuff. That's wild. I try not to have anything that I don't already at least have some kind of plan for. And I don't know, maybe she had plans for something too, but it was just like, this is a lot of crap. And then my other thought was it's also important to know how to save space as an artist. Because if you're just like, there was a picture in that group chat, it was like all of this stuff in the back of a U-Haul trailer. And it's like, okay, there are ways that you can save space artistically if you have a limited space in your studio. The biggest one, especially for canvas, would be to unstretch all of the canvases, roll up those pieces, and knock the bars apart, and then just store them in boxes. Like, you could take all of the, like, there's 200 canvases, unstretch them, knock the bars apart, and they would probably fit in half the size of this table. Like, it's not that much space, and you wouldn't have needed the U-Haul truck. Pineapple juice instead of orange juice today.
For like health reasons?
Okay. I gotta figure out what kind of color I want to use on this city. Have to rebuild some color. There's not a lot left on my palette, even with the plastic covering. I wasn't expecting to not paint for like 3 or 4 days. Okay, 8/20, Saturday. I went to clap. Like, that's probably a bad idea to do with this on. July 20th, Saturday. I said that already. I didn't end up painting the other day, right when I said I was going to. It was still pretty hot and nasty down here. And then it finally rained. It cooled off for a couple of days now. The past 2 nights have been awesome. And now down here, I'm not sure what the temperature is down here. I really should probably get a thermometer for down here. But upstairs it's 76, which is nice and cool because it was like 84 earlier this week inside. So I will be getting back to painting for sure. But real quick, I had a couple things that were happening. One thing that I did do while I didn't work on that painting, I did paint, sorta. So I was looking on my wall at my oil paint color map, and I looked at it and I was like, I have no idea what the point of referencing it was. But I took one look at it and I said, well, 2 of these colors on here I don't have anymore. And there's, in addition to those, I think I've added 3 other ones. So I'm like, I need to update my oil color map. So I did. let me grab that. It's over here drying, but as you can see, this one is a little bit bigger than this one. And then what's interesting is in painting this, I was like, man, the 2 reds that I have are really similar. Like, I didn't really think about it. Like, when you look at the mass tone, one definitely does look a little bit cooler of a red. But it's like, man, they're basically the same. And then my alizarin orange and alizarin yellow, which the mass tones look very different, but mixing, they did basically exactly the same thing for most colors. So it's like, cool, that's basically 2 tubes of the same color. The yellow, which I had switched out, I had been using a CAD yellow hue. I'm now using a Hansa yellow. That made all of my color mixes better. So that was a good switch out at some point. What was the other one? Oh, the blue. The blue is different. I didn't actually really have a regular blue when I did this. I used a manganese blue hue oil stick as my blue. So I got a phthalo blue red shade as my blue now. And then everything else, I mean, it's a lot of earth tone. Like 90% of all of these mixes are all just like dark, rich earth tones in varying variants of them. which to be fair isn't 100% different than my my acrylic map on the wall over there. But and I don't have a I sort of have a black, but I also don't, at least for oils. My my raw umber acts as black when I need it to be dark, or that mixed with the blue. It's you know, classic chromatic black. But anyhow, this was really fun to do. It took me like 4.5 hours yesterday to do it. And I just did that yesterday morning, and then I was like, okay, that's it. That's all I'm doing today. But it was really fun to work on. So I did that, and then because I've been home on the injury, not really doing much else, I was like, I'm overdue to switch out work at the gallery. So I went down, rotated a couple of works, and while I was down there, I was like, I was poking around, and I saw that, oh look, there was still less of a big pile of stuff from all the thrifty art supplies from the other day. So I picked up another 3 canvases because they were there and they were free. So these are some 14-inch squares that somebody spray painted silver. I probably should unstretch these because I'm noticing a little bit of a sag, especially on the corners, but I also can key these canvases, so I'm probably just going to do that. And in addition to doing all this and gessoing over all these other canvases, I used almost all of my black gesso up. So I might not even have enough to do these, which means that today, after I get my morning painting done, I might be taking a trip down to Blix, which is probably not something I should be doing on disability pay, but whatever. I do have a couple of things. I did have it listed as a summer trip. There's only 4 things on my list, which is good, which means I probably won't be spending a ton of money.
Yeah, in your bra.
Yeah, I've got some color expansion ideas for my 1 ounce high flows, which I may or may not buy any of those. I actually want to look at some yellows as well in my catalog before I go, because in doing the updated, this is the old one, but in doing the updated oil color map, I realized that I actually I've never really played with a lot of different yellows. I've played with tons of blues, I've played with tons of reds. Well, some reds. I've actually have been meaning to play with some more varying reds as well, but it's been a lot of blues, a lot of varying mixed greens. So I actually want to look at the wider range of yellows. Actually, the ones that really caught my attention were nickel azo yellow, which I added in, and oh, now that I'm thinking about it, Golden added a color to their lineup, which was basically my replacement for their Indian yellow that the pigment that got discontinued, and they made the new Indian yellow hue, or India yellow hue, now that they're calling it something different, and the new version sucks. And a lot of artists have switched to using PY110 ISO in... I'm really good at pronouncing pigment words, but only if I've heard them before. This one I have not heard out loud yet. Iso Indo Linone. PY110. Anyway, it's a nice, vibrant yellow-orange, and Golden started making acrylics with this color. So like this one is the one I got from Old Holland, which has kind of been my backup for the old Indian yellow hue, which I won't completely get rid of, because at this point it is now a reference color to try to find things that are like that to replace it with. So yeah, let me write that one down, because I want to get a tube of that as well to see how it compares. Especially not only to that, but to the old Indian yellow, and that'll probably end up being more than likely an art video for sometime in the next month. Yeah, so that yellow, and I keep forgetting about it because it's not on my shelf with everything else. If I have a look at those, or just the other yellows and other brands, you know, like most yellows are just basically Hansa yellow or CAD yellow or Azo yellow, which I suppose makes sense. Oxides. I'll probably just have to look while I'm in the store. Oh, that would be an interesting one. Would be, and I could probably try that in the high flows. Would be a a cad yellow pale or something like that. A lot of artists swear by like one of those bright lemony yellows, like a cadmium lemon or cad yellow pale or something like that. Okay. So yeah, lots to do today. In addition to possibly going to the art store, I'm also having a friend of mine and his wife by for dinner. And because I'm nuts and pretentious, I'm making the long, all-day Julia Child-style beef burgundy, which means I probably have to start making that about 1:30 or 2 for a dinner time, probably in the range of 6:30 or 7. Because I want to have that out of the oven and also make some homemade buttermilk biscuits. Sorry, I'm probably just making you guys really hungry. Okay, the next clip you guys see from me are going to be me gessoing these and working on that painting. That is a promise. Yay, I'm done. Okay, so I forgot to hit record for the latter half of the city part of this, so I'm just going to hold it up, and hopefully it will be visible enough. If not, you guys can see it on Discord, newsletter, and where else am I uploading currently now? Eventually my website, but the Discord community and the monthly newsletter are mostly where the finished pieces end up. So, yeah, you can't really see this with the backlighting or anything, but I painted a little city in there. Kind of looks like it's... I did it in such a way that it's like I wanted to make sure it looked like it was carved out of the rocks that are also in the thing. And then everything, because everything was kind of the same color, I put in some little red tents and other little colors throughout the city, so it actually looks like it's habited. Other than that, that's that. I'm going to give this a couple more minutes to dry. Clean my brushes. Clean myself, probably by hopping in the shower, and then go to the art store while I still have daylight, and can do all of that. So it's the 10:15, so I've been down here painting for like 2 hours or so. Good last little bit of time here to finish everything. I still might give it a little bit of. I haven't done like I didn't do my regular normal foreground liner brush finesse, but I don't think the piece really needs this. But I'd rather just sit on it and do it later if I need to. Okay. Yeah, I will do the outro after I come back because I'm sure you guys are going to want to see all the stuff that I bought. So I will save that for later. Okay, so I am actually really, really glad that I waited until after I came back for this because I found some fun stuff. I mean, I always do. It's Blix. I went with my list and I... obviously bought more than what was on my list, because duh. Actually, there was this lady in front of me. I don't know if she's just a really disciplined artist or just somebody who popped in and decided to buy something, but she spent like $8, and I was like, I said to the cashier, I'm like, I have never seen anybody spend less than $10 in this store ever. In the process of wrapping this vlog up, I'm gonna go through these supplies. So if you're done watching for the updates, feel free to turn this off. If not, I got to show you the really cool shit. So I went primarily for the black gesso, which if you guys saw earlier, I ran out of in the midst of doing those canvases. So they'll need another coat because that silver that's on them is a little bit resistant, so it's gonna need another coat. I went through my list and I was like, okay, I can get some of these and some of those, and actually I got something else on that list which I can now cross off. One of which was more of my white, because my jar is almost empty. So I got my white. When I was getting the gesso, this really caught my attention. So for a while, I have been playing with, well, I did it a while ago. I haven't done a round 2 test run yet. But a lot of people in the joint compound versus molding paste video are like, oh, well, I just make my own and I add this, or I add this, or I add this, and whatever other things that are not really good art supplies. One of them I picked up a while back was Plaster of Paris, which I played with for that initial test. All of those initial tests were pretty awful. And I've kind of just been sitting on that video idea for a while for like a homemade texture paste kind of thing. And then I see this for like 10 bucks. It is a bag of marble dust. That Blick is now selling. I don't know if they always have, but it seemed new to me. I'd definitely never seen it before. So it's 4 pounds of marble dust, and it says, powdered marble dust can be used to make acrylic modeling paste, glue-based gesso, and all water and oil dispersed paints. So, the component to make this. And this being 10 bucks and this being like 20 bucks, I'm gonna have some fun with this. It's probably gonna take me a few months before you see a video featuring this, but I was really excited to see it. It's also pretty heavy, so I have to find a usable spot or something. Anyway, that was the big, sort of the big thing. I almost didn't pick this up, and I'll explain why in a second. But clearance shelf, you know, I was like, oh, what's on the clearance shelf? Gotta look. There was a lot of good stuff on the clearance shelf. I picked up a 6-pack of the Derwent XL colored charcoal. I tilted it down, and now it's too far down. The reason why I was hesitant to pick this up is because I have one, and I have used it a grand total of 1 time, about 4 years ago. I've not touched it since. It's just in here. It's like, what am I gonna do with more of them? I don't know. Maybe it'll actually inspire me to use them again. They're weird. It's just like a oh wait, this says charcoal. This is different. This is colored graphite. These are charcoal. Okay, so different. Not the same thing. But also, I don't use charcoal right now anyway, either. So that probably doesn't help much either. But I like the box, if nothing else. Ooh, those are pretty. I like the looks of that. Oh, even similar to like a Conte crayon or something. Little foam padded things. This is a nice ass box. Okay, more shit I don't need. But it was like $18.97. I'm like, yeah, I'm picking that up. More things in my drawer I don't need. If I end up never touching it, maybe I'll use it in a giveaway down the road. Other great clearance items. A whole bunch of holders for dip pens nibs. And there was a big thing of them that said 66 cents a piece. And I was like, I'll get 4 of them. And then the other thing I didn't really intend on getting was just some other empty paint markers. So I can use to create more colors in my paint markers, which is good, which I'll probably do before I go upstairs today. Now for the fun paint. For the first time in a while, I actually bought paint while I was shopping. So this was actually on my list that I wasn't going to get, but when I saw how relatively cheap the fluids were, I was like, oh yeah, let's get some fluids. Iridescent copper fine. I now have a silver, a gold, and a copper. This I bought for a very specific reason though, but I don't want to talk about it yet. And we have the ISO, whatever the hell, how you pronounce it, yellow. It's a Series 6 color. I was a little disappointed that it was a much higher series, but there it is. I'm actually kind of curious how this looks by comparison to the other one, which is almost identical. So we have the old Holland one here, and the golden one here. The golden one, I think, is... I don't know, they're really close. I think the Old Holland one might be a little bit oranger. But other than that, really close. So that could be a new glazy backup yellow. And then since I got rid of my Liquitex inks, I've been slowly expanding into creating a new tertiary set of weirder colors that I don't normally have in my acrylics using the high flow. So I'm going to switch this to the shelf view here because I got 3 of these that I have to arrange now. Okay, so my current, these are my sort of my regular setup here when I was first buying them, but it's all these little 1-ounce ones that I'm kind of playing with and expanding into a little bit. These are the Birmingham inks, which I put into here so they have the dropper top, but they're just regular. They're regular other inks, not the Liquitex jars that they are. So currently I've got Naphtha Red Medium, Pearl Red, Pearl Orange, Phthalo Green Yellow Shade, Diox Purple, Titan Buff, and Interference Blue. And I've added Quin Red, which I've never had. I've tried before, but I've never actually had. It's actually interestingly it's a violet. It's a PV19. But I'm going to put it up with the red since it's a red, which looks like it's probably going to go in between the Naphthol and the Pearl in terms of overall. Wow, that's actually really close to the Naphthol medium in terms of hue. That's really wild. Okay. Yeah, they're like, wow, it's really almost identical. But the Naphthol Red is a red pigment, and the Quin Red is a violet pigment, interestingly. Okay, I got a smaller yellow. I've got the Benzimidazoline Yellow Medium. I have the Yellow Light in my open, but I really wanted to see how the medium compared. That orange, yellow. And then Green Gold, which is a color I've used in the past. Whoops. I've used in the past. I don't think I've had any in probably a decade, but it is wildly useful for convenience mixes. So I'm going to put that in there next to the other green, like that. So they're all beautifully in chromatic order. So that's going to do it for this week's vlog. I have to say, side note to everything else, I think for sure after my next doctor's appointment, I will be going back to work. My wrist is starting to feel really good, and I had my my boot off for a little bit earlier today before I left, and I was just walking around on it. I'm like, this actually feels really good right now. So I'm excited that I'll probably be going back to work probably the 2nd week of August at this point. After the art crawl, after I get to just continue to be in the brace and the boot for the art crawl, but after that, hopefully I should be fine. So, actually, now that I'm thinking about this, you'll see me in the brace probably for at least another week here on the channel. Possibly another 2 weeks on the channel. But after that, hopefully it should be gone, and I'll be back to normal, mostly. All right, but that's going to do it. Thanks, guys, for joining me on this warm but crazy week as it's slowly cooled off, and helped me finish a painting. I'm gonna find some nibs to put into these pens, and this has been reminding you to keep on creating. Oh yeah, the paint markers. I want to do that too. Keep on creating. Like, subscribe, comment, all that junk, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, real quick, the paint markers I bought are thinner than I thought they were, but it makes me really excited. So it's the width of a technical pen. It's a 0.8, but it's a paint marker. This is about to change the way I paint.